Hi everyone, my name is Jen and welcome to the Book Refuge and welcome to my reading and reaction vlog for Midnight Sun by Stephanie Meyer. So I've already read this, I already filmed all the clips. I'm just filming a little intro and then you'll see me again at the end when I kind of wrap up everything. But just a little bit of a spoiler, and to give you an idea, this is a genuine fan's reaction and feeling about it. I don't harbor any of the anxieties or current angst against Twilight. I didn't do a reread leading up to this purposely because I didn't really want to join in on not everyone was hating on it. I know, I'm not pointing fingers or saying anything because I am also someone who always tries to be an eyes wide open fan. I just don't apologize for what I like. I hold this series in high esteem for a lot of reasons, for the things I've seen it do for the book community, for the romance community, the things that have come from it. And so I'm so pleased that the mistakes that were made by this book, that they led other authors and creators to take them and fix them. Sometimes not fix them, sometimes make them worse. And so I just won't apologize for my love. And so if you're here to ridicule, if you're here to hate, that's not what you're gonna see. I genuinely had a wonderful time reading this book. I cried a few times. You'll get to see that along the way. And if you are a fan like me, I hope this convinces you to read it. I hope that you have a wonderful time with it. The best part of this book was spending more time with the Cullens. It just felt like slipping into an old pair of jeans that fit so well and then discovering like $50 in the pocket, because there was so much time spent with the Cullens. Edward is awake all the time. His brain is fascinating. The fact that he felt like himself, but also so many more layers to him. And I have such greater understanding for his reactions, getting to see them. And then the genuine love and beauty of his family just kind of knocked me on my ass. Like, it was so great. Like, I started a bit skeptical, and you'll see me, I ended up so in love. And I had such an urge to like keep reading after this, but I won't, because I know that the excellence of this book, a lot has improved in 15 years. There's a few things I feel like Stephanie tries to fix. And so if I go back and like now continue on, I would lose a lot of that. I know that because I don't think it's gonna hold up the same way to me as it has in previous rereads. But it sure made me want all the books from his point of view. Like, I mean, not New Moon, because it'll probably be horrible, but if there was like another book someday that was like books 2 and 3 mashed together, and then that, like, I want that. But I'm satisfied. And I think that one thing I will read is there was something really cool that Stephanie does in the acknowledgements where she's thanking everybody, and then she says this: "And finally, to the readers who so patiently were eager for this book, I never would have finished without your support. You belong on this page. Please write your name on the line below and give yourself a high five." And so there's literally a line where you can write your name, that this book is dedicated to you or acknowledged to you as well. So I really loved it. So I'm going to stop talking now because there's about an hour worth of this, and then I'll be back at the end to tell you more details and spoilers. So this is like spoiled, not that Twilight can be spoiled to you, but there are some things that I think that can still surprise and delight you as you go, because there are things that you just don't know about Edward, and it was great. So, all right, have fun. Hi everybody. Okay, so I'll probably film an intro for this video, so you probably will have just seen that, but I don't know how long this reading vlog is gonna last, or if I'm gonna binge it all in one day, or if it's gonna take me a month. And also I know that there are, as of like already, probably 50 million other people's reading vlogs, but because like many of us who are proud enough to admit it and or not proud enough to admit it anymore, my revamp with reading came because of this book. Okay, It did, and I think a lot of people feel that way. I single-handedly, personally, have made at least 20 people read this book. And because of its accessibility, and because it was freaking everywhere, and because of just what a quick read, how addicting it was, whether we like loved it or not, whether we admitted it or not, a lot of people read this. And for years, I adored it. I couldn't make myself do a reread because I am aware that those of my friends that did do the reread, like I meant to do it, and then I meant to like film it, I meant to binge it all at one time. Because they weren't enjoying it so much, I had a feeling that I might not. And because of what Twilight did for me and what it means to me, I couldn't do that and have bad feelings towards it. I refuse. So maybe the day will come when I do. Maybe there'll be enough space that I have from it that I'm willing to do that, but it's not right now. However, I do greatly want to read this book. This book that I waited 10 years to have. This book that the original 11 chapters that were leaked by, the first chapter was leaked and then the rest of it was leaked and Stephanie put it on. I personally retyped it because you couldn't download the file. I personally retyped it, printed it all out illegally at school, and had it in a binder with binder clips, and I borrowed it to my other friends who didn't have access to it. And I just have to like complete my Twilight journey, I have to read this book from Edward's point of view. I didn't know it was going to be so big, because it's, 658 pages, and the original was, that's all New Moon, 500 pages. I know they're like, I'm ready for it. I'm excited. And I really like Stephenie Meyer as a person. I just really do. And I just can't wait to do this. Like, seriously, her like dedication, which it says this book is dedicated to all the readers who have been such a happy part of my life for the last 15 years. When we first met, many of you were young teenagers with bright, beautiful eyes full of dreams for the future. I hope that in the years that have passed, you've all found your dreams and that the reality of them was even better than you hoped. Like, that's just cool. And I'm excited. Like, I'm really excited to read this. So, a little other like side story, since this is a vlog. God, this picture, man, the forbidden fruit. That's so, I just love it. I love it. Okay. Anyway, this day has already been kind of a shitstorm. So that's part of the reason I went to pick the book up, because here's the thing. I didn't pre-order it because I'm the type of person that like the pre-order takes too long to get to me. I've had problems where like it doesn't get shipped in time and it ends up being super late. And because I live right next to a Barnes & Noble, like it's literally, if there wasn't houses in the way, I could like see it from here. I always pick up books the day they come out. I don't really order them on Amazon. The only books I order on Amazon are like self-published books at this point, because that's the only place I can get them. And so anyway, I wasn't gonna go get it until this evening, and I was gonna like pick it up to read on the live show, because today's a Tuesday. And then some shitty stuff happened and my router just like kaput, just died. I've been having issues with it lately. It's been taking a long time to like, my internet will like go off and on a lot. It interrupts like a lot of things. If you've been on live shows where I've been there, sometimes I just drop off. And I didn't know what it was because despite working for a tech company, I'm not good with like the nitty gritty stuff like that. Or the basic stuff like that, not nitty gritty stuff, but the nitpicky stuff is what I mean. And so I went to Best Buy. They helped me pick out a router. He says, from what you're telling me, I don't know if it's the modem and the router or just the router, but why don't you start with the router? And if it doesn't work, come back and see me. So I may end up running back and forth to Best Buy a couple times today. So I just needed to sit down and chill. But it dropped my call with the customer today. I have meetings this afternoon that I like can't even reschedule because I can't get on the internet to do it. So I had to text my boss and be like, hey, can you get access to my calendar and message these people for me, because I can't do it. So it's kind of a shit show this morning, and I hate it. So while I was out picking that up, I had a couple other things to do, and I was like, this was all stuff I was going to do at the end of the day, and I was like, well, let's just take the time since my day's already effed up and go. So I picked up my medications, I stopped and got some food, and then I went to Barnes & Noble and I picked up Midnight Sun, and then I also picked up, I've been wanting to try this one, A Duke, the Lady, and a Baby by Vanessa Riley, and this is Rogues and Remarkable Women, and I haven't had super great luck with the books that have been like this, like we talked about covers, like the historical romances that have been marketed this way, but there's a couple of reasons. Number one, this one is from Zebra Historical Romance, and I really like theirs. Also, the books that they show on the inside are a bunch of regular ones, so me thinks that maybe, and it's also blurbed by Julia Quinn, so I'm kind of interested in this book, and it's about this woman who they take her baby away from her because she questions the death of her husband, and then she gets released and gets hired as her own son's nanny, and there's this like wounded war hero who is the guardian of her son, so I'm excited for that. But anyway, that was just a bit of a rant. I will check back in when I've actually read some of it. I am incredibly excited. There's so much that's been said. We've all said it. There's an archetype that Edward represents, and it's crazy to me of like, for all the flack that he gets and for all the flack that Stephanie gets, there is something about it that was attractive to millions and millions of people. And whether that was just enough to like get people interested in romance, get people interested in YA, it deserves its place, and it does. And no matter how much you trash it or try to take it down, there will still be millions of people who were just layman readers, and I don't mean they were lame, but I mean they were just surface readers who became more because of this series. And it deserves its respect and its rightful place, even if it hurts me to go like back to it. But I'm very excited. I'm actually I'll be listening to another book while I get this router shit figured out, and then I will start this beauty. Like, oh, I just love a new Stephanie Meyer book too. Like, I always think her books look really cool, and when you see, like, just think of how many people, like, if you didn't have a title on this and you didn't have this, like, if you just held this up, people are gonna guess Stephanie Meyer. You know, they're gonna guess her, which is funny to me because recently there's been a lot of books that have like tried to copy that. Like, there was books that tried to copy it back then, and now it's come around again, like Crave, The Beautiful and the Damned. Like, those books all have this same style, and I think it's funny because you copy the master, right? So, okay, that's enough. Hey everyone, so I'm just checking in. That's what a vlog is, right? Just about to get on the live show right now. I finally got able to start reading. The shit show I mentioned earlier continued to be such. I ended up with a total of 3 trips to Best Buy today, and then just ended up staying with the router modem that I have, and I called my internet provider, and they are going to, I upgraded my speed because I did need to do that. I think it's going to help with my upload speed for videos as well as work. And then they're going to give me a new modem router, because I've been using the same one for 5 years, and so I was like, yeah, I'll update my speed, like I'm fine paying more for that. But also, how long does a modem last? Because I've had this one for 5 years and it's a rented modem, so how long did someone own it before me? And I would just kind of like some updated equipment at this point. So they're like, no problem, we can have that brought to you by Thursday. So my internet got upgraded today by like 5 o'clock, so I have like faster speed, stronger things, so that's good to know. Hopefully no more trouble with that, because it was really driving me crazy. But on to what this is about. I'm only 72 pages in, but I'm already like, I'm getting sucked back in. We've just had the accident, and Edward has just you know, told Bella that he's not going to tell her how he did it, and he's very intrigued by her already. I like it because he doesn't immediately fall into obsession with her the way that I feel like she does with him. And I think maybe that's because, like, we see him, like, he's so busy, like, he's interacting with people all the time. And I feel like he isn't, like, instantly obsessed the same way as her. I think we're just about to get to that part because, you know, now he's going to be, like, watching her to make sure she doesn't tell on them or anything like that. Because, yes, Edward, that's really what you're doing. But I'm loving all the time with the Cullens already. I love spending time with Alice and with Carlisle. Like, there was never enough of them in the original series for me. So that is really what I'm hoping to get out of this one, is more time with the family, because I love them. And also being in everybody's heads is kind of funny. So this was just gonna be a quick clip because I'm gonna jump on. I gotta get on the live show now, but that's where we're at. I expect to get at least halfway done with this tonight, if not the whole thing. We'll see. I might get into a push, so I'm sure you'll see more from me later. All right. Hi. Oh, wow. This is really interesting lighting for me right now, but this is vlog life. Man, I haven't done a vlog in, like, I think most of the summer. I can't remember when I switched to my weekly. I figured it was time to do an update. So the live show was fun. It was good reading with everybody. I love doing those every week. I'm on page 218. So I'm like a third of the way done with this bad boy. And I'm loving it. It's good. It's everything that I was kind of wanting. Like, I wanted to spend the time with the Cullens. I actually really enjoy being in Edward's head. I enjoy it more than Bella's head. I think because though he's obsessed with her just like she is with him, he has a lot of other things going on. He has people in his life that he's like talking with and things that he's dealing with, and it's really fun to see everything that he's doing to protect her and take care of her. So a couple things. I really like when he's composing her lullaby, and Esme and Alice are like sitting there and playing piano with him and stuff. Alice does, and I just really enjoy it. I hate Rosalie even more to like get to see the things in her head. Like, I just don't understand her and Emmett. Like, they're not a thing that I understand. I don't get it. The time with Carlisle, I freaking love it. He's someone that I always wanted more time with. I think he is a sweet, perfect baby angel, and I love him. I love him. I also really like... I really enjoyed the scene where Edward falls for her completely. And that is so, like, after the accident, after, you know, convincing his family not to kill her, mostly Rosalie and Jasper, because it's always them, he goes to her bedroom for the first time, and you see him, like, fall for her. And it's really powerful. Like, it feels like someone finding their fated mate, especially after reading so much Immortals After Dark like I have. That's what it really feels like, is because he has that, like, solidifying moment where he's like, who am I without you? Like, what would I be without you? And he struggles with what to do about that, because Alice only sees two choices. She sees him killing her or her being a vampire, and those are the only two choices. So he knows that he's going to have to leave, but he wants her to be the one to tell him to go. Otherwise, he's like working up to being wanting to go. So every time he like talks to her, he's like waiting for her to like say goodbye to him, and she doesn't. And so the scene that just happened was Port Angeles, and he like admits what he is. She figures it out. She talks about what she learned at La Push. they have their meal where she admits how much she likes him, and he, had saved her from the bad guys, and she says, like, it doesn't matter what you are, and he's just like, are you kidding me? And that's such a crazy thing, because, like, he has so much self-loathing for who he is that he just can't imagine someone, like, being okay with what he is. So that's really fascinating, and I'm enjoying it. Yeah, I'm hoping I should make it to the meadow tonight, and that's where I'll probably stop. It's 9 o'clock right now, but there's some other books I want to, like, read too. I don't want to just read this one tonight, because I want to make it last more than one day, because once it's over, it's over. But I also want to get this vlog up this week. Like, I want you guys to get it on release week, because that's fun. And I know there's some of you that won't read this book if you don't end up getting to watch some people's reviews first. So far, I mean, if you were a fan of this as a kid, like, I think you're gonna like it. If you love the Cullens, you're really gonna like this. Like, Emmett, he's just as adorable as ever. So, it's going good. Hey. So, it is the next day. It's almost noon, so I'm just about to take my lunch break. And last night I got to just over halfway, which is, we're currently in the meadow. I wanted to get through the meadow so badly, but I was so tired because I didn't sleep for shit the night before that I literally had to stop mid-chapter. I never stop mid-chapter, but I knew that I was starting to, like, skim, and this is, like, the build-up, the, like, tipping point of this couple's relationship. And I was like, you cannot sleep through this, because, okay, a lot of stuff was going down that's different. So, as I said before, I have read, like, up to the point before where they're, like, about, like, he says, I'll pick you up tomorrow. So they're about to have the meadow stuff, and, like, that's where the original bit that got released ended. So, but there's a lot of stuff that got added before then. There was a lot of information about the rest of the Cullens. There's a lot more, like, stuff about Rosalie, like, why she's being such a bitch. There's a lot more stuff about Carlisle and Edward's time together before anyone else was there. Like, what it was about Carlisle that made Edward have things easier in the beginning than some others did. There's interactions with other vampires, like Siobhan and Maggie, who are, like, Siobhan's, like, the Amazon lady, basically, the Amazon vampire, and her, Edward hearing her thoughts, and he hadn't heard any other vampire's thoughts yet, and thinking that maybe he was missing out on something, being with Carlisle, because Siobhan is thinking, oh, it's so sad that Edward was changed by Carlisle, because he'll never get to experience the ecstasy of human blood, and seeing, like, different things that kind of pushed Edward into, being the Ripper killer that he was. Not the Ripper, that's from the Vampire Diaries, but where he decided, well, I can kill evil people, and then discovering that that was still too heavy on his soul. Even if it was evil, then he was taking those people into him. It was very interesting. The interactions, like, there's more interactions with Bella. So, like, the days when he quizzes her, and from Bella's POV, we, like, skip a lot of those questions. There's just a few of them that we see. We get to see, like, all of the questions, which was kind of fun, because he questions her. In his mind, he's thinking, ooh, I want to think about gifts that I can get her, and, like, would she ever accept any gifts that I gave her, and just, like, these different things at the beginning. Like, you're watching him get to know her. So he's had that Insta connection, he's had that I've decided I love you, had that monumental change, but now he's trying to, like, fill in all the gaps, and I think that is, like, so cool to be reading. I'm really enjoying that part. And so the hype up to the meadow. So this is different from what I remember in the original. So Alice has these split visions, which I think we know that at one point he's basically 50-50 whether he snaps and kills her or she'll be a vampire one day. And then there's this vague third option where she has a vision of Alice and Edward and Bella sitting together, and Bella looks to be maybe more about like 25 or something. So she's stayed human. But that's a very vague possibility, and it's more so because Edward feels like he's determined to keep her human. Because again, there's just so much of his like loathing of himself, and that he could never, ever, ever ask her to be that for him. But Alice, even now, we're seeing her say, but what about her choice? Because what if her choice is she wants to stay with you? And Edward just like completely dismisses that. But it's not as frustrating when you're seeing it from his point of view, because this entire book up to this point, he can't even imagine that he would be worthy of someone. So anyway, so this build up to this meadow is that Alice sees him either killing her in this meadow or it working out. And when he decides that he's going to take her to this meadow, there's this moment where Alice, like, she calls him right away. She's like, oh my God, that's the place where you make the decision. And so then he goes, and we find out that, like, well, what if I try to leave now? What if I do this? And Alice is like, this is the knot. So it's the knot. And she's like, the future is hazy after this. This is the turning point. You don't know what you're going to do. She doesn't know what she's going to do. So I only have vague plans. I can only see vague things. You have to go to this meadow. If you don't, like, you will always come back to this. Like, there was even a vision for her of, like, if he had left right away and didn't stay and get to know her, that he eventually would have come back and just killed her, because the temptation would have become too great. But by staying and entrenching himself in her life, he's upped her survival chances, because every minute that he spends with her, the future where he kills her becomes so abhorrent to him that he just can't do it. So it was very interesting to see that, and I feel like Stephanie really filled out those things, where in the previous, number one, because the only insight we get into Alice's visions really are when Edward explains them to Bella, and he keeps them pretty base. Also, Stephanie has had years and years to think about what those visions were and how much more complex and how many thoughts and feelings and things that Edward is like sifting through while he is struggling with this. And so he's so nervous going to this meadow, because every minute he's trying to make the decision, but he also is trying to show her his true self and be completely honest about everything. And that makes him pretty inhuman. And we see that from Bella's point of view when, you know, when he's whipping around the meadow and like throwing trees and like trying to scare her. And his mind is just going bananas. So I'm literally up to the point where he's explaining what her blood is to him right now. But I'm loving this. I really am. I think it helps that I tried to have very low expectations, but also because I had read those first 11 chapters, 10 years ago, and I liked them. Like, there's a reason why I always wanted this book, because I think the exercise Stephanie did in exploring Edward fills him out as a person so much more. And you can't like retcon this, because the rest of this like was finished after everything is done. So Stephanie, in a certain degree, is able to fix certain things that have bothered her or bothered other people over the years. So we can't completely forgive everything that happens in the original series when we look at this. But as a person who, like, I always did want to read this book, I really appreciate it. And I still tried to have pretty low expectations, but I'm just, like, pleasantly surprised. Like, that's what I'm feeling. It's not the, like, obsession that I've had as a teen or even, into my early high school years, but I'm just feeling this, like, pleasantness about it. And I'm really liking it, because I love the Cullens, and I always loved Edward. And to get to see into his mind and, like, how much he was dealing with and and the stress from his family about like he's risking their lives on this 17-year-old child, that she won't betray them, and that her love possibly equal just a fraction of his. Like, that's crazy. Like that's crazy. So I'm loving it. I can't wait. I'm now finally going to be at stuff that I really have no idea about it. But there's been a lot. There's been, because we're just getting to the part where, like, I hadn't read things yet. And she definitely added probably 100 pages to that stuff of just conversations, him reading people's minds, the things he's doing at nights. And yeah, I'm really loving it. So I'm going to go ahead and take my lunch, and I'll probably get through another, like, 100 pages over that. And then I have to go to my trainer after work. And then when I get home, I will finish this. And hopefully I'll have this vlog up by tomorrow. But yeah, I'm really liking it.
Hey y'all. I just wanted to do one more clip while I'm like still reading it, because I'm getting into the final push. I'm definitely going to be done with this tonight. And then tomorrow morning I'll probably film the conclusion of how I felt about it. But I'm on page 500. I have 150 pages to go, and it's just been great. Like, really, I've had a wonderful time reading this. Am having a great time reading it. I've really loved all the time with the Cullens. There was some amazing scene of, oh, it had me like, I teared up so hard, where Edward's thinking about when he first meets Alice and Jasper. And Alice and Jasper come to meet the Cullens when Emmett and Edward are away, because Alice sees that that'll be the best time to come and introduce herself. And then when Emmett and Edward show up, Alice just throws herself at him and hugs him and is like, my brother, at last we're together. And it made me so happy. Sorry, I'm like getting emotional about it because I love them. I love their family. I love the bonds that they have. It's so good. And then Edward just kind of like, because he can hear her thoughts, and she literally in like one moment shares all the memories that she has about who she is, and then future visions of like their time together. And so he's just overblown by how much she already loves him and how much he is going to love her. And I just love that. Because Alice and Edward's like friendship / like relationship is one of my favorite parts of the series anyway. And so that Stephanie would put in that moment for us, I love it. There was also been some really great interaction between like Rosalie and Edward. And like him reflecting on how when Carlisle first brought her to them, he didn't understand it and was like, why are you bringing this like harpy to live with us? And then when Rosalie brings Emmett in, Edward is so thankful because him and Emmett, they're so close, and he's so thankful to have him. And so when Rosalie is really struggling with him bringing Bella in, Edward says, like, trust me to bring in the right person, the way that I was thankful when like I didn't understand what you were doing when you brought Emmett in, but it turned out to be one of the best things that ever happened to me, and like, can you trust me for that too? So that was a really cool thing to see, because Rosalie, it doesn't just make her nice. Like, in fact, if anything, I'm more annoyed. Like, Rosalie is more annoying in this one than in the others, because Bella has such sympathy and like is so understanding of Rose, where Edward gets like really irritated with her because, I mean, they had a brother and sister relationship, and he thinks she's vain and annoying, and she thinks he's stuck up and a brat. So, but it was really cool to see those interactions like that. So, yeah, but currently right now what's happening is the baseball just happened, which was really fun because Edward goes through like the whole game for us, which I'm pretty sure just has to do with like how much people love the baseball scene. So I feel like that got expanded. Also because it's happening so fast that Bella doesn't see the whole thing happen. So we get Edward's like play-by-play of that. So that was fun. But the part I'm at right now is Bella smelt. She was smelt. So we're just about to have the hunt take place. So it's going great. The next clip will probably be tomorrow, where I'll wrap this up with my final feelings and everything. But it's been a good experience.
All right, that was a crazy ride, guys. I had such a good time reading this book. It's hard to remember all the things I said in the clips, so I'll try to just overview this. Like, bottom line, as you can tell, if you are really a fan, and you still are, you're gonna like this. If you've gotten a little jaded by it, like some of us all do, I think you're still really gonna like it. I think that Stephanie did a great job including enough other content in here that it doesn't feel like a complete redux. I think it makes Edward more sympathetic. I understand him so much better. The time with his family, just, like, I'm in shock still. Like, I'm sad I'm done reading it, guys. I'm sad it's over. I'm so happy I have it after actively for 10 years wanting it. 10 years ago is about when I heard about it. And I'm so happy that Stephanie didn't just, like, give up on this. I had a gut feeling when the 10th anniversary thing came out, when they did the gender bent, which none of us like really wanted. Like, this is what we wanted, but I'm glad she waited because it was so worth it. I want this to be my new version of Twilight. Like, that's what I'm saying. And I'm sure it's because of the newness factor and that I've read that one so many times and Bella doesn't really have anything new to offer me. And being in Edward's head that just moves so much faster, and that in same conversation she's having, Stephanie's able to add pages of things and not just, you know, and not just blah, blah, blah lip service, like stuff that has to do with the Cullens, history about Carlisle, things about Alice and Emmett that just made me so happy. So much stuff with Rosalie, like really getting to the meat of like why she's so bitchy about this. What's going on during those scenes where she's just like being so rude to Bella. And it's still not totally fair because she's literally hating Bella just because she's a human and because she might want to be a vampire, which just isn't fair. Like, your life isn't my life, you know? And seeing like how close sometimes Edward is to just losing it. And like I said while reading it, like there's that point in it where like Alice can't see what's going to happen. She's like, it started out as 50-50 that when you go to that meadow, you won't be coming back with her. And then it became 60-40 and eventually it's like 80-20, but still going into that meadow, it could have went either way. And I didn't think that she could make me feel suspense about something I'm so sure about what the answer is going to be. But because Edward's mind is so undecided and his hunger is not put in that box yet, it's undecided. And it's crazy that she can make it feel that way when we know how it's going to go. But I felt it. I felt that we didn't know. A couple other things, the times where I like cried, different conversations with Carlisle, some stuff with Emmett. I love watching Emmett decide that he likes her. Like, first meeting, he's like, oh wow, I like her. I didn't think a human could do anything for me. And then when Emmett is protecting her, he has a moment where he's like, Rose is gonna have to get over this pronto because this chick is cool. Like, just those little things where it just makes your heart flutter a little bit. One of the most intense parts, the best chapter of the book, holy cow, is called Race. And it's from the time when Edward, Jasper, and Carlisle touch down in Phoenix at the same time Bella has snuck out of the airport. So what happens with it was Emmett, Carlisle, and Edward. And then they meet up with Alice and Jasper just as Bella has snuck away. And they go on an epic car chase. Literally, it was fantastic. My heart was racing so fast. The things that they did, and meanwhile, like, so many things is going on. So you're watching the Cullens work in perfect synchronicity, and it's mind-boggling. It's so cool because Alice is seeing that every second of time that they take, Bella is in more and more pain, and there's just blood painting the mirrors in the ballet studio. And Edward's like, you can't think about that, Alice. I need you to focus on just 30 seconds at a time ahead of us because I need to know how to get us from here to here. And he picks a car that has like NOS on it, and so they're going like 170, 180, and then they have to change cars. And so they get this lady out of her SUV, and Carlisle puts her down and lays her in the shade, and then they're in a new car and there's police chasing them. And then they get there and just Edward wanting to run in, and Alice is like, if you go alone, she dies. If you do anything but have us all there with you, she dies. And even when they get there, she's like, you can't go in alone. She's dead. And so Alice is screaming at her, you need to do what I see, because if you variate from this at all, it's done. The conversation happening in their heads when Bella is almost changing, what's going on in Edward's head when he is drinking the venom out of her, Alice being like, this is it, you can just let her go, you can just let her be like us, because Alice sees that as inevitability, but Edward just refuses to damn her to this life. And you feel it. So the biggest complaint, I think what a lot of people will say, is that Edward is too self-deprecating and that he hates himself. So there's a lot of self-hate in there. And number one, I understand it a little bit better, because being in his head and seeing how he sees himself, that might be annoying to read, but it's his truth. It's his facts that he feels this way about himself. So he can't just change that to make us feel better. And so I feel like the new moon Edward that we see is the groundwork is laid very well in Midnight Sun, because he already is he's seeing one of the options of if he leaves, what Bella will look like. And Alice shows she's literally curled up in a ball on the floor. And so he is ready to leave her. Well, not ready. He doesn't want to, but he's determined to leave her from the hospital room. But then he's like, well, I need to stay till she's better. Well, I need to stay. How about I just stay till she's done with high school? So he keeps making these deals, but it's already in his head that he will leave. It's already there. So it's not a surprise at all that would be a choice he takes if something else were to happen to her, because he already really wants to do it. So I feel like that's really well set up. But yeah, I mean, I could talk about it forever. I want to talk about it with you. If any of you made it to the end of this vlog and you are, one, actually want to read it, and two, can just enjoy it for what it is, please do. I'm still not calling it a masterpiece. I'm not fighting that fight. I don't care enough to do it, but I'm enough of a defender that I'm I'm going to like this. I'm going to say that I gave this 5 stars because I was still able to be surprised. The story was still compelling to me, and I enjoyed myself. I read every word of this book. I thought that this book would take me 2 hours, because I was like, oh, there's only 150 pages of it that's new, so I'll end up skimming the stuff I've seen before and keep going. No, it's not just 150 pages of it that's new. It's more 500 pages of this is new. Because in terms of the time that Edward is actually on page with her, is nothing compared to all the stuff that is new content. Because Bella sleeps, he's watching her at lots of different points, he is constantly overthinking everything and analyzing things within a second's time. Between the time where he like will touch her face and he's cataloging how it feels and what he's thinking and all the desires that he has. And then thinking about Rose reminding it of something that a thought that Alice had or something like that. So there's so much of this that's new content. Don't go into this thinking you're getting a carbon copy of Twilight just from his POV. There's like 500 pages of this 650 page book that are new to you. The backstory from all the characters. There's so much stuff from the Twilight companion that's like in here. So if you were a nerd who like had the Twilight companion, it's in here. There's a lot of great, like the fight scenes are in here, which is really cool. Like vampire baseball is done in detail because it's not Bella watching it. So there's literally like a whole chapter of that, which I feel like comes back to how much everyone liked it in the movie. Stephanie really expanded the baseball and like what everyone's doing. And it's so much fun. It was so much fun. If you are a Twilight fan who still holds fan status, if you appreciate Twilight for what it did for the genre and what it did for your reading, you are gonna like this. There are a lot of things that are improved. I had a great time spending the days with Edward, and I didn't think that I would. But I loved it. I really did. Bella was way more standable to me, and I'm sure that's because like Edward sees her as amazing, whereas when we're in Bella's point of view, she doesn't love herself, so there's that. So it kind of like switches it up, and I had a new appreciation for her and why like he would be frustrated with her reactions to things, because he's just like, what? I'm a monster. Like, how can you have any feelings for me? So it's very interesting. But anyway, that's my vlog and reactions for Midnight Sun. I loved it. It's 5 stars. There's parts of it I want to read again. Like, I just feel like the lines are so beautiful. Like, some things are just like so lyrically put in here, and I love it. I love how things are described. I love Edward's family. I love the Cullens so much. I want them so much. All right, there we go. Thank you so much for watching this. I put up new videos all the time, not even 3 to 4 days a week. This is all I do. It's read books. So thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye.